still stop. Three, two, one.
Is there anyone here that would like to communicate with us?
Putting a dip in your hip, a glide in your stride. Welcome to the mothership, the home of the travelers of the universe, with shows throughout the week. Everything you want, everything you could need. From the paranormal to the supernatural, from the spiritual to the unknown, from emotions to comedy. You can find us at Facebook, Twitch, YouTube, TikTok, Instagram, and so much more. This is R.I.F.T Nation Network, the RNN. And now, your featured show. Shall we begin?
Hello, Happy New Year, everybody. Welcome to Mysteries Beyond the Scenes. Happy New Year. It is New Year's Day, 2024. I am streaming live on R.I.F.T Nation Network. My name is Joni Skinner, and you are streaming Mysteries Beyond the Scenes, where we use forensic astrology, clairvoyant clues to solve mysteries and also missing persons cases, just all kinds of mysteries. So welcome to the show, and I hope everybody had a wonderful, absolutely wonderful Christmas, wonderful New Year's Eve. You know, the subject tonight, excuse me, is a little bit pretty good timing because of the fact that tomorrow we are supposed to get a release of over 2,000 pages of a report that was a court manuscript from one of, and I think I have to, I'm not sure if I can use his name, J.E., we'll call him J.E., one of Epstein's alleged victims, and it was her court trial. There are 170 John and Jane Does listed in this transcript. Now, tomorrow, we are going to find out who the Jane Does are. So there are some John Does and some Jane Does that are listed in the actual court transcripts. Hello, Mr. Keith. How are you? Welcome. Happy New Year. I hope you had a good New Year, Keith. I'm kind of glad the holidays are all over and now we can get back like into the swing of things, into the swing of 2024. So there's a lot to uncover with J.E.'s natal chart. Also the event chart that on the evening that he was either, he either did himself in or he was taken out. One of the two things. What does the chart show? The event chart is, I'm on the fence with it. Uranus is the S word if you take yourself out. Uranus plays very heavily into this chart, which I'm going to show you. So that would give me a clue that it was indeed an S. It's very, when you see an event chart with when someone takes themselves out, it's pretty apparent. This, I'm not sure what he did. But what is interesting, when I was looking through the report, he made a phone call at 7 p.m. He told the guards, and they didn't listen, that it was a call to his mother. His mother's been dead for many, many years. It was a female, that clear. So I thought, well, I'm going to do a chart that shows the phone call. Maybe we can get some clues from the phone call. We did. Number two, they said that the call was in the United States. It was not. It went to Belarus. So why was J.E. making a phone call to a female in Belarus? Interesting. He was really into a lot of the genetic AI. He was also into a lot of the lab stuff. So I think it's pretty interesting. And I'm just thinking that do all of these pieces connect with J.E.? I don't know. I think we're going to find out. I think we're going to find out that everything will connect with J.E. So let's get started. Let me get to my notes. Hi, Donna. How are you? Keith, I planted myself on the couch today looking at the last year. Okay. Well, that's a good thing. Hi, Donna. My dad, that was my nickname growing up, Donna. I don't think I ever told anybody that. Hey, that's what my dad called me. That was my nickname growing up. My grandma called me Buggy. Everything I own has ladybugs on it. That's so funny. You must be psychic, Donna, which is great because welcome to the chat. We do have a lot of clairvoyants that come into the chat. It is New Year's Day. So if you're not listening live tonight, please welcome to YouTube this week and listen in. Leave me a note in the comments. I love to read your comments. Hit the share button, hit the like button on YouTube, and share on Facebook as well. Oh, that's so sweet. Let's see what Donna says. Oh, then my psychic abilities are good. That's pretty strong, Donna, that you knew out of all the nicknames that I could have had. That's pretty neat. That's really neat. I think it's great. Well, I'll tell a little story and then I'll hurry up and get on with this JE information because this JE information is very, very interesting. On the heels of the release tomorrow, I'm excited about the release tomorrow. We do have a hint of one of the John Does apparently has 50, 50 or so mentions. Used to be in charge of our country here. So it's going to be interesting to read this tomorrow. Happy New Year, Gail. Welcome. And Donna, yes, they are. Psychic abilities are getting stronger. I don't know what's funny is my dad's been over on the other side for a long time. I was 18. And I got one of those bracelets that you see on Facebook for my niece for Christmas. And she's a marine biologist. So she loves turtles and she has worked with turtles. So I got her one of the turtles that you could track. Well, when the bracelet came, it has a little certificate with it that names your turtle. And then you get the app and you put it on your phone and it tracks the animal that you have. It's like your animal. Well, the name of the animal was Bill. Well, that was my dad's name. So I'm like, this is weird. And now Donna comes up with Ladybug. So that's kind of weird. Maybe Dad's out there saying, hey, you're not listening to me, and dropping some hints with you guys. I don't know. Just a little weird story. Hello, Miss Lee. I'm excited about 2024 because we've got some really good shows planned. Really, really interesting topics, really interesting missing person cases, bringing you all the astrology. Here she said, so Dan says hi and pay attention. I know. I can hear him going, bug. Damn it, Joni. So let's get started. I'm going to pull this up because we've got some I'm going to make a full screen on this because the charts are really intense. JE's chart and I want to show you all something because of a natal chart. We all know what JE was, what he was about, what he did. I did when I was doing some research. It is a known fact that he went around and told people that he was some kind of an undercover agent. He had passports without his name on them that showed that he lived in Saudi Arabia. He taught school, college, and did not have a certificate, nor did he have a degree. He was worth millions and millions of dollars. So it's very interesting. He grew up in a middle class Jewish family in New York. There was no wealth. He wasn't from a wealthy family. It was very smooth. But his natal chart, and I'm going to show you all where we look to find out that he had the tendencies, as we all know, what he was guilty of. And I'm going to point that out in his natal chart because it is very, very strong in his natal chart. You have to be very careful as an astrologer when you're dealing with that sort of a thing because of the fact that you have to be responsible. You can't just look at a chart and say, "Oh, it's a P." He's a freak, he's cringe. You can't go around and accuse people. Actually, if you want to call someone by that P word, there's a 5-prong test in astrology that you take that actually has 5 various aspects that are very, very clear before you can say it or should say it. I don't think you should ever say it. You can assume it. You can look in the houses and say, well, look at this. We can look at it, but we're certainly not going to accuse people of it because you have to be responsible. So let's take a look. This is so interesting. This is and when I pulled up that telephone call, I about fell over. Again, the night before he passed. Oh, my bad. Do you guys have it now? My bad. I took myself out by mistake. Can you hear me now? Let's see. Let me come. Can you guys hear me now? Can you guys hear me now? Let me know in the chat if you can hear me. I took myself out by mistake. Whoops. Sorry about that. I'm so into these charts, you guys. I'm just like, it's crazy. Sorry about that. I'm getting so into it. Okay. So we'll go back to the official report. What I was saying is, I was just talking about that place. Got to be careful with my wording with, what's going on. So at approximately 6:30, this is when he was found on the morning of August the 10th at approximately 6:30 in the morning, and that's the timestamp I used. They went in to give him his breakfast, and they had found he had himself. They yelled for help and to call for medical emergency. Now, this is from the report. Now, the CME claimed that they did an autopsy and it was from took himself out. And the blood toxology was, nothing in there. Injuries were consistent with taking himself out. And you can actually see the room. There are plenty of things on YouTube that you all can look and see what the room looked like. There was an enormous amount of sheets and bedding in the room, which to me, I found that unusual. Now, Dr. Bodden went in and performed an autopsy for J.E.'s brother, and they found wounds, and that is out there too. I mean, you can go through so many rabbit holes on this case. And I'm going to try to keep it simple. So here, this is interesting. Here we go. This is the part of the report that at approximately 7 p.m., there he goes. He got on the phone for about 30 minutes with a female who they claim he was involved with. This is so interesting to me because I had never heard this before. The phone was traced to Belarus. The person that they did find for this report refused to be interviewed. And I guess if they're out of the country, they have that right. So I think it's very interesting that he was calling over in that area. It's 7 o'clock in the evening. Okay, here's the phone call. Now I'm going to make this big so I can see it. Okay, here we go. This is the phone call. If you look over to the right side for the bottom purple arrow, Mercury, in Mercury, okay, that's the phone call. You can see it right there where it says DC to the right of the chart in the 6th house. There's your phone call. JE is represented by the planet of Saturn, okay, because he is a Capricorn rising, shows up in the chart. As you can see, Pluto is right next to Saturn. So at 7 o'clock that night, the wheels were in motion for this to occur. As you can see up to the right in the 7th house, he spoke to a female. That's in the 7th house. The 7th house can be a relationship. It can also be enemies. Enemies. I think it's very interesting that he called. He is also represented by the moon. As you can see to the left, I put that up in the 11th house. As you can see the little shape of the moon. That's JE. This was either filmed. Neptune plays very, very full in this phone call event chart. Was he videotaped? More than likely. It was a woman. There's an older man up there that's represented in this event chart that's close to this woman. This can be foreign enemies. But in the 11th house, that's a friend. So he thinks, as you can see, he is connected to the phone call with the female. He thinks it's a friendly call. The wheels were put in motion somehow with this phone call. I'm convinced of that. Now that I saw the phone call, I'm blown away by this. Okay, so bear with me on this chart, you guys, because it can get a little complicated. Okay, so let's see what chart this is. This is the actual event chart of when he was found. He is represented by Leo, which the red arrows represent JE. He's the sun, and he's also the moon. Okay? If there was a perp involved, it would be Aquarius, which is represented by Saturn which is circled in pink, the H, or Uranus at the top of the chart. This is why I'm so confused at whether this was did he take himself out, or was it, did he go at somebody else's hands? Because Uranus is so prevalent at the top of this chart. It's up at his midheaven. As you can see, the sun is next to the female. Very, very interesting. Hidden. This person is hidden. And it's also connected to that phone call. And then again, we look at the event chart of when he was found. And if you notice, Pluto and Saturn are in the 5th house down at the bottom to the right, circled in pink. Black Moon Lilith was right in between him, Pluto and Saturn. They hit his north node of destiny. You know, I believe in destiny so much. I just, by looking at this chart, there's no stopping this. You know, there are charts that you can say, well, they can check out, they can't check out. It's up to the soul. Not with this event chart. This algol is very prevalent in the chart, which is injury. That's the demon star. That is injuries to the neck. That would be what happened to him. So that is the event chart. So I took it a step further because, once you start to dig into these rabbit holes, you go further and further. So the next chart that I did, now bear with me on this because this is pretty confusing. This is his natal chart. This is his birth chart. Now I'm going to show you all why he was how he was. Mercury represents children. If you look at 1, 2, 3, 4, we're up, the 4th house over where Pluto is there. The South Node is there. That's South Node is past lives. He came into this life with the karma from the South Node, which had to do with children, because Pluto is going right up to Mercury, if you can see that. Pluto, Mercury, and who else is hitting that Pluto and Mercury? Uranus. Uranus is in direct opposition, the green line, to the children. Whenever you see Uranus like that, Uranus can be like weird, kinky stuff. It can be. It's in the 5th house. Pluto at 22 is in the 5th house, as well as the South Node, and as well as Black Moon Lilith. Black Moon Lilith and Pluto in there hitting Mercury. Usually Black Moon Lilith is childless. They don't have children. This is his natal chart. Another thing that's unusual in his natal chart is if the pink arrow, Venus and Mercury are together. You can see that up at the top. In Pisces, Pisces is there's no boundaries with Pisces. This is somebody with a very, very high SEX drive with no boundaries. They love beautiful things, but that drive, it's a direct conjunction at 16. What's funny about this is Ghislaine has that conjunction in her chart, and guess who else does? It's a pretty rare conjunction. Prince Andrew has that conjunction, Venus and Mars. So you can deduct out of that what you'd like. Now, so what caused this? If you want to see Algol and Pluto, which are they're trining each other. So that's around the neck. That's the demon star. The south node was hitting Pluto. And if you can look on the outside where I've circled planets, those are the transits that were going on, okay, on that day. So just to give you an idea, we had the moon and Jupiter were conjunct on that day. We had Pluto and Saturn were conjunct on that day. Uranus was right on his ascendant with Jupiter. Jupiter on his ascendant, when he was born that way, he was born and everything he did came with ease. Whatever he wanted, he could have. Jupiter hit that north node. It was a very karmic chart. South node in Leo could represent royalty in a past life. He was an important man. He came in this life to be one of the masses. He came in to learn a lesson. And it was right up there with the children. So it's an interesting chart. There was a lot of, if you notice, Venus is down there at the bottom of the chart, hitting the south node as well as the sun. There's a lot of really malefic things are happening in this chart on the day that he either took himself out or he was taken out, one of the two. I can't tell in the chart. Like I said, Uranus is just lighting up his natal chart, and it lit up his the day that he died as well. It was unexpected. I don't think he expected it. As you can tell, you've got Neptune with Saturn. It's just a pretty kind of a bad chart. Let me look at my notes and see what else is on his natal chart and that we can take a look at, because it's just lit up. Look at that chart. It's crazy. Let me see. I think that's about all I wanted to show you, because it's just, what do I think happened to him? I don't know. I think there's a direct coalition with that phone call. I think the phone call comes into play with that. I really do. We've got the weird Mars-Venus conjunction in the 11th house, which was associates. South node, royalty, Leo. He had to be careful with a lot of me. You know, he did not come into this life to be me. He came in to help others. That north node is sitting up there at the midheaven in Aquarius. He came in here to do good deeds. He blew that, didn't he? You know, he came in here to be the common man. So let's see. The moon in Aries. Okay, he did. He had a moon in Aries in the 12th house. He got what he wanted. He didn't take no for an answer. That moon in Aries. Let's see. Oh, his natal Saturn. Neptune was hitting that. There's just a lot on that day. Uranus was squaring his natal Saturn, Neptune. You know, but the big thing that tells you about the underage is the Black Moon Lilith, Pluto at 22 in the 5th house. 5th house is of pleasure. It's children. Whenever you want to look for that kind of behavior, I always go to the 5th house. That's the first house I hit when I want to look and see if there's anything a little bit strange going on in their lives. You know, it's the house of pleasure. It's the house of sports. A lot of sports figures are like your pro athletes have a loaded 5th house. But then it can also be other things as well. You know, as we've talked about a lot, 22 is not the best degree to have. He's got 22 right at Pluto. So, and the transit north node was in Cancer that day, and that hit his natal Uranus. Whenever I see any type of a DEATH, I don't care if it's from a taking oneself out or if someone else has done it. The lunar nodes are activated every single solitary time. Every time the lunar nodes are activated, they're lit, they're just on fire. I've never seen an event chart where they're not. And I don't know if it's just from looking at them a lot or studying them. But the North Node and the South Node, as we all know, the North Node is the soul contract, and the South Node is karma, what we've done in many past lives before. So that's just an indication of his chart. So I think it's pretty interesting. I hope I explained it because there's a lot to this chart. So, I hope I explained it enough for you guys. I hope so. So this is interesting because this is her chart. This is GM's chart, Maxwell's. As you can tell, look up into that seventh house. There we have, and it's circled in pink, the Mars and Venus. There we go. It's in the seventh house. This is her natal chart, seventh house. What's the seventh house? Seventh house is marriage. It's relationships. It's what she wanted. She's got a Capricorn stellium, which is she was very hardworking. She's a hardworking gal. We've got Pluto down in the fifth house. We've also got a moon in Leo, which says, here I am, born into royalty, home. It's the fourth house. The North Node is down there. She was a socialite, and take that and come in here and be good with it. It opposed Jupiter up at Aquarius, and she was very well connected. She was very well connected. Wealth. She just made unfortunate choices. Very hard worker. I mean, you probably cannot find anybody to work as hard as she did. Now, I want to show you something that's very interesting in her chart that I found fascinating. If you look up at the top where it says MC, and I circled Saturn, and Saturn is the H. What is Saturn? Saturn is karma. Saturn is wisdom. Saturn is our teacher. Her Saturn was unaspected. What does that mean? Nothing in her chart hit Saturn. What does that mean? That means that Saturn was the king of this chart. What is Saturn? Karmic. So it tells us a lot. It just tells us that she came down here with a lot of karmic activity. In the fifth house, Pluto is in there. Could be obsessions. It was power. So, and if we see all of those planets are over on one side of a chart, it also tells us that she was constantly trying to please others. Now, I know that people have said that she was the mastermind behind it. After looking at her natal chart, I think not at all. I think she wanted a relationship with him, if not in love with him, and he wasn't capable of it. So I think she was, I hate to say this because she had many, many victims, but I think she also was a victim. I don't know if I should say that, but I think she was. I really do. She had Neptune in Scorpio. Let's see, what else do we have? Black Moon Lilith is Black Moon Lilith is very strong in serial killers and rapists in their charts. So I'm not saying what she did was good because she's not, but she made some very unfortunate choices at the hands of this guy who was a complete and utter monster. I mean, just looking at his chart, he had choices as well, but man, oh man, he picked it. You know, we all pick what we set out to do. Boy, he picked a tough one. I'll tell you that much. And this is the rest of her chart. Oh, she has a T-square. Okay, I'll show you guys what a T-square is. The T-square I've marked in purple. A T-square comes in rough. It's when two planets oppose each other and then they're squared. So her T-square was in Jupiter, the moon in Leo, me, and that opposed Neptune, which was deception or secrets. How could she have turned that? Used it for we always talk about vibing high in Neptune. What is that? That's using clairvoyance. It's using empathy. It's using your sixth sense. Obviously didn't do that. So her north node was also in Leo. She has no water in her chart, which shows a lack of empathy. She had very little empathy. It was just all a lot of earth, all Capricorn. Look at that Capricorn in there. No water. So there's no feelings. The only water she has is Neptune. That's an outer. It's not a personal planet. So that's her chart. And it's pitiful to me. So what I wanted to do is show you all this too, because I found this was very interesting too. While I'm digging in all kinds of rabbit holes, and y'all know I do that. But this is, I thought we're in 2024. Let's take a look at our leaders chart coming up with the upcoming April eclipse, which I've always said this is going to be the banger of the banger eclipses. Is that one in April? It's going to be the main one. So as you all know, our leader right now has a Scorpio stellium in the 12th house, hidden enemies. What is very, very interesting in his upcoming chart, which is going to get whacked by the eclipse, which he got whacked the last eclipse, is we've got the great conjunction coming up in May of Jupiter and Uranus. If you can see them almost together on that, on the chart, on the transit chart, they're going to be together at the eclipse in April. They're hitting him in his house of health. Okay. That's his house of health in the 12th house, which is secrets unveiled, because his ruler is Venus in the 12th house. So we look to the 12th house. What is that? That's secrets. That's hidden enemies. So we are going to have some very, very, and it hits Mercury in his 12th house. We are going to have some secrets come out around April. It really could affect his health. That's his health. Now, what's funny is Saturn is on the move going into his 4th house. What's the 4th house? That's home. Usually when Saturn moves into the 4th house, a person moves or changes residence. We've also got Pluto moving into Aquarius, transit Pluto, the green. That's the transiting planets that are hitting his natal chart. That's going to move into the house of communications, his house of communications. So here, major transformation. I think it's very interesting that his 12th house is going to be triggered. Also, the 6th house of health is going to be triggered with communications. Interesting. Very, very interesting. So we're going to have to watch him around April. Again, I keep saying that. So let's look at the United States chart. This is our chart for the United States, in just kind of a brief look at 2022. I circled in purple. I talk about the Pluto return, what happens every 220, 250 years, transformative at the last stages of Capricorn. Circled in red, down at the bottom, is Aquarius. It is moving into the house of media, communications. It's Aquarius, third house in the United States chart. So, what's going to get transformed? The media, how we communicate and how we communicate to each other. It rules a lot of other things, but I found that interesting. We've also got Saturn in the fourth house, which in the United States chart, that represents the people, homeland. It's our roots. So it is squaring up with Pisces, which is pharma. It is medicine. It's hospitals. It's LBGTQRV community. It's water. It's waterways. So those are interesting things that are happening this year. Jupiter's going to move up into the seventh house, into Gemini. It's going to make us all a lot chattier. And I'm really pleased to see that. So that's what's kind of ahead with the outer planets coming up in 2024. I thought that was interesting. So we're going to see a major transformation, or we know what Pluto does. Pluto brings things out from the bottom that we don't want to see regarding the media. Third house in the United States. So mark my words on that one. And that's coming January 20th. So we're going to see that. That's going to be interesting. So we're going to see a lot of stuff uncovered that we didn't know, or we didn't want to see, or we have refused to look at. So those are our interesting transits coming up. Well, I hope you guys enjoyed that. I hope I made myself a little clearer with try to fix this. Wait a minute. Let's try to make this better. Sorry about that. I hope that I was clear with JE's chart. And thank you, Lee, for please don't forget to hit the like button. Thank you guys so much for that. Let's see. Let me go through the chat and see what everybody's got to say. I'm sorry. I had it up so I could read the charts. Oh, here we go. Hi, Miss Tammy. Here's Miss Tammy. Happy New Year, Miss Tammy. Sorry, I just came back from McDonald's. Hi, everybody. Hi. Hi, Miss Tammy. Loud and clear. I took myself out. I was so into these charts. Where's our other Kathy? Oh, that's so sweet. Miss Lee. Please don't forget to hit the like button. Thank you so much. If you guys have any questions on these charts, let me know on JE's chart, because I think tomorrow we are going to get some answers. I believe so. And as Miss Donna says, now we wait. I think it's very, very interesting. Oh, yes. I want to thank you, Linda, for bringing this up. This is very, very interesting, friends. On the her chart at the time of the April eclipse, she's got Jupiter. She is coming into power. She's got a great chart. She's got a great chart coming up. Actually, she's got an excellent chart. And we'll go over that when we get closer. Yes, she's a Libra. Now, you all know how I feel about Libras in the lab, or a Libra having access to those buttons. A Libra can't make up their mind. So you don't want to, you don't want them in a place of power, because they would sit there with the button going, should I not? I can't make up my mind. Somebody tell me. I can't make up my mind. She comes into a very powerful position. She's got a very powerful chart. Excellent transits for her for 2024, by the way. There would be no doubt in my mind that she would be there. So we're going to have to watch and see. I'll be honest with you, I don't know how he made it past the last eclipse. He got whacked. And she has been missing from the spotlight. We'll take a look at her chart. I'll do it next week and show it to you. I'll take a look at it, but it's very powerful. Very, very powerful. Yeah, and that's the dangerous part. Well, that's the dangerous part of a Libra. When a Libra makes up their mind, it's good, but then they question their mind. So let's just hope that she's got excellent advisors, because a Libra can't even decide where to go out and pick a restaurant, let alone what to do on a global scale. And, we do see her with a lot of word salads. I get it. But I also get how Libra is, because she tries desperately to please everybody. And that's what they do. And if they're not aware of what they're doing, um, that's what a Libra does. But if they're aware of it, they know how to handle it. So that's what's good about when you do know, when you look at your sun sign, always look at the part of the sun sign that needs work. Because your strong points are fine, but it's the weaknesses are what we need to work on. So a Libra trying to make a decision is very tough. They want to please everybody. They're people pleasers. They don't want people mad at them. The only good thing is, I think we would be at a lot more peace, because a Libra is good with peace. So we have to watch this one and see. So everybody, thank you for tuning in. And I hope everybody, hi Karen, how are you, dear? I hope everybody had a great 2024. I'm going to have a great show next week. I'm planning on. There was a double homicide down in, Tammy and I were just talking about it. There was a double homicide down in Texas. The little girl was 18 years old. She was 9 months pregnant. There is video footage of the car that they were looking for. There's a lot of rumor mills and a lot of speculation. I would love to look at the chart. Maybe we can get some insight on what happened. She was a victim of a homicide, as well as her fiance boyfriend. And they were due to go to the hospital. She was due to have her baby induced on the day that the homicide occurred. It's a very sad, sad case. There's a lot of information out there that is rumor and is not, we don't know what's the truth and what's rumor. So we're going to have to really get through that one. And yes, I am. Are you still doing the smile? And then also in January, I am working on the smiley face killers. I got to be careful to say that word, but there are, I don't know if you've heard of these unsolved mysteries. There are at least 40 to 45, mainly young men of college age, that have disappeared in our country. They have all drowned. Now, there are detectives that have taken this on, that are retired from New York, that say, no, this is fishy. A lot of the young men that have been recovered, for example, they claimed they drowned, but yet they had no water in their lungs. So I'm going to take like 5 random victims that were drowned or ended up in a body of water, and we're going to compare the charts and take a look at them. Now, what was funny, the reason they're called the smiley face SFK, smiley face, is because at the scene or near where the people were found, there was a smiley face put either on a tree or on a location or on a bridge near where they found the young men. So law enforcement saying, no, these were all accidents. 40 something, there's at least 40 plus. So I'll have those maps. I'm working on those charts now. And it's a very interesting thing to dig into, because the more you dig, the more you find. So we're going to look at those charts, compare a couple of them, and see how they compare. Oh, it's beyond sad. It's crazy. And they were all found with, it starts with an H, the date, rape, drug in their systems. All athletic young men. One was the captain of the swim team. One was a rugby or whatever player. They're very athletic young men. They all left to walk home late at night after being out with friends. So it's very fishy, Very, very fishy. Another mystery for us to try to solve. So with that, you guys have a great week. I hope you enjoyed this. Let's all take a look tomorrow when those John Does and Jane Does are released. 2,000 pages we've got to read, and get together next week and we'll talk about what is in the readings. So happy New Year. Thanks for listening, everybody. Have a great week, and I'll see y'all next week. Thank you. Good night.